everybody. Good evening, and happy Tuesday to all of you. This is Christina, your productivity coach, here tonight for part two of one of our favorite topics. Discussing overwhelm and how we balance it, how we work through all the things that come with being a busy woman with a multifaceted life, doing the absolute most, killing the game in your own respective fields, and looking ahead to what God has for you after you overcome these hurdles. If it is your first time seeing me live or it's been a minute, I am your productivity coach. I am the voice in the back of your mind reminding you that there's so much for you to do in this world, that your family needs you. God has chosen you for such a time as this. And then beyond that, you are ready right now for all the things that you feel that God is whispering to you. You're ready right now. Here in this community, we are very passionate about creating a work-life balance that works for you. We are very passionate and close to helping you bring your vision board to real life. We are very driven women, also those of us who are just multifaceted, multifunctional. A lot of our ladies have multiple businesses, multiple brands. They're building epic ideas. Good evening. And they're doing the work. They're doing the work. They love God. They love their families, and they don't play about building legacy for their loved ones and for themselves as well. And so all we do here is talk about that. How in the world do I get more done by strategically doing less? And so we facilitate this in multiple ways. Number one, through community. We have had ladies who got to know each other just from a Facebook Live, from seeing each other in the comment section. And one lady walked up to another lady in the movie theater and was like, "Are you one of the Mamathon ladies?" And she was like, "I am." And they connected. This is in a completely different state. They didn't meet at a meetup or anything. They met via Facebook Live here in this community. And so we are just excited about what God is doing. We're excited about our upcoming events. So we have community, building a network of amazing women. We have our conference, October 27th through the 29th, all right, in Atlanta, Georgia. All things work-life balance, self-care, wellness, business strategy, moving to the next level, everything that you need, plus a really dope tribe of sisters to accompany you during that process. We promise we got you covered, okay? So if you're interested, just drop conference in the comment section and we'll make sure that we reach out to you. Yeah? Okay. So we got community. We have the conference this October, and then we have our coaching support, which means some of us need more than a weekend off or some pedicures. Some of us need one-to-one support to really move past our mental hurdles. Some of us got a mind that is all over the place, and you are totally allowed to work through that and focus your attention to what matters the most. Yep. Okay, so we got community, we got the conference in October, and we have coaching. Okay, all three of those things we bring together to support you at the next level. All right. Okay, so today I am excited because we're going to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart, which is organizing your life from the premise of combating and overcoming your overwhelm. Okay, we do have a Facebook community called Organize Your World with the Mamathon Divas, right? With our ladies in our community, over 700 women strong. And what we do in that community is we really talk through what it's like to be busy, but not always producing results. Okay, to be busy, to have a lot going on in your life, but you are not always producing those results. Okay, so I'm going to take a second. I'm going to tag the ladies in our Facebook group. There we go. All righty. And I'm going to close that out. Okay. So one of the reasons that we are really driven in this way is because you can be working on multiple things, be excited about multiple opportunities, want to move in a certain direction, and feel as though you have so much happening in your mind, in your spirit, that you end up very exhausted. Overwhelmed is a word that a lot of us can identify with. Okay. So we will end up working towards some things that are really not for us at the end of the day. Okay. So you can go back to later some other time and listen to the live from yesterday. It was so phenomenal. And luckily for you, I'm going to recap just a little bit what we talked about yesterday to connect it to our framework that we use here in this community. All right. The book that we were speaking out of, sharing out of, is called Take the Day Off by Pastor Robert Morris. Okay, this is what the book looks like in case you want to order it sometime. I have taught a series out of this last year, I believe. I don't think it was 2 years ago. I think it was probably last year. Where we just went a little bit deeper into the book. But one of my favorite areas in this book talks about feeling overwhelmed and what overwhelm looks like in the life of anybody, but even in the life of believers. Okay, somehow along this journey we begin to feel like we can love God, be pulling close to him, and will never experience negative emotions. Somewhere on this journey, we found ourselves thinking that along this process, we were not going to experience negative emotions. Instead, somebody asks how you doing, and you say, "Oh, blessed and highly favored," right? It doesn't mean you're not blessed. It doesn't mean you're not highly favored, but it might also mean that you got to lean into some stuff and work on some things, okay? It may mean that you are trying to configure where you are in this process. All of these things, that's okay. You are allowed to find your way. All right. And so what we talked about last night was picking up from how stress is killing us. Okay. And the data in this particular book is from before the pandemic. The data in this book is from pre-pandemic, which means we haven't even gone into the repercussions that are coming from us having lockdown and quarantine all that time, been stuck in the house with our families all that time, trying to do less and streamline, all the uncertainty, grief, all of these things, right? And so he talks about how physiological stress load of Americans, especially, it finds that health indicators are tied to heart, kidney, and liver disease, that many of them are tied to stress. In fact, stress is a factor in 5 out of the 6 leading causes of death: heart disease, cancer, stroke, lower respiratory disease, and accidents. All of these come into play when we're thinking about this, okay? So he says that we have some possible warning signs of burnout or emotional exhaustion. And one of the things that I do over the course of time is I ask you all, what does that look like for you? What does being overwhelmed or burned out look like for you as a person? Do you know what overwhelm looks like in your life? Are you able to see the warning signs that you're feeling some kind of way? Good evening. That you're feeling some kind of way throughout your journey, throughout your process. Can you identify it? Do you see it? One of the things I've learned to do is identify, to be self-aware enough. All of us are called to be self-aware enough to move forward, knowing our bodies, right? Knowing our emotional state, knowing when we are feeling angrier or more frustrated or tired. Are you doing these inner checks on yourself? Are we paying attention to where our mindset is? What are we doing? And so this evening, for just a little while, okay, we're going to talk about how we can elevate and get over some of these feelings of overwhelm, okay? So I'm going to give you all the list that we have here. And if I can find it on Facebook, I'm going to give you guys the list also of what you all told me. Okay. Because a lot of times we're not thinking about all the ways that we are doing it to ourselves. So I asked you guys, I said, listen, you come and tell me, what does that look like for you to be overwhelmed? Okay. All right, let's get to it. This book, in case you're new here, Take the Day Off by Pastor Robert Morris. He says, it's a CNN article, says possible warning signs of burnout or emotional exhaustion. Okay. Overwhelm. Has anybody seen the post? You know, the one that says, I'm not avoiding you, I'm just overwhelmed right now. Have y'all seen that? Yeah. Like, I'm not avoiding you, I'm just overwhelmed right now. Like, I really don't know if I'm coming or going. I'm not sure what's going on with myself. You know, I'm so overstimulated. Everything is rushing at me at one time. I'm just maxed out. Okay. So here he gives some possible warning signs of burnout or emotional exhaustion. Number one, sense of failure and self-doubt. You stop believing that you can do it like you used to. Feeling helpless, trapped, and defeated. This is as good as it's going to get. I'm not sure if things are going to get better, okay? So sometimes when we're burned out, we kind of slip into a depression, right? We can slip into feeling more anxious. We can feel helpless. We can feel trapped in our current situation. Another symptom of overwhelm or burnout is detachment, feeling like you're alone in the world. A lot of ladies, when they come to a discovery call, they're like, okay, Christina, you know, they're giving me where they are, and then they end up feeling like I'm the only person that feels this way. It's just me, okay? Loss of motivation is another one. No longer excited or driven to do what you used to do. Increasingly cynical or negative outlook. Some of us are, like we say, getting it out the mud. Some of us are really working through all of this because we have this negative outlook. We can't visualize things actually getting better. And then we have decreased satisfaction and sense of accomplishment. Okay? Decreased satisfaction. We no longer find joy or pride in what we used to take joy and pride in. Okay. And so he says currently millions upon millions of people in our culture are living daily with these symptoms. What I shared last night was, for some of us, we do productivity coaching, you know, we do consulting with different organizations, ministries, all of that. And a lot of us, we are used to survival. We are used to just surviving. We're used to making it. I'm good enough. I'm not sure if it can get better, so I'm just going to stay like I am. Okay? As opposed to identifying with what could be. What could be? What's the option that I could lean towards? What could change? Okay? So, sense of failure and self-doubt, feeling helpless, trapped, and defeated. Detachment, feeling like you're the only person in the world that's going through this. Loss of motivation, a negative outlook. Like some people, there's the mindset. It's like, I can't overcome this. This is as good as it gets. Okay. And a decreased satisfaction or sense of accomplishment. Then I ask you all, what are your signs of being overwhelmed? And one of the ones I want to take note of the most tonight is physical. Perhaps you don't breathe as deeply as you used to. Perhaps you're like me and it shows up in your body, in your muscle tension. Mine is right here. These two little, like right there, that's where my tension shows up. Okay. I know myself enough to know when I start to feel my tension here, there's a bit of overwhelm that I'm approaching. I'm like, okay, I need to do some pausing and analyze what I need to do differently. I need to take some time off. I need to breathe. Okay. What does overwhelm look like for you? Someone else said they just kind of go into robot mode. It's like rinse and repeat. You're doing things throughout your day without intention, without even realizing that you're doing it. They said my temper gets short. I get frustrated. I start yelling. You don't want to yell, but it's all you can do to respond. We get frustrated and we lash out. It's almost like our emotions bubble over and spill over to the people that we care about. The people who are the path of least resistance. So, how do you see yourself in these symptoms of burnout and emotional exhaustion? How do you see yourself, right? Do I feel like I'm failing? And maybe it's not that you're failing, maybe you're just maxed out. You feel defeated, but you had to have finished something to feel defeated, to feel like you lost. If you hadn't made it to that point yet, what are we doing? Loss of motivation. Maybe you feel unmotivated, but it's not because there's something wrong with you. Maybe you're just tired. Okay. And then when we add on loving our families well, trying to maintain our relationships, parenting, homeschooling, working, growing a business, when we begin this multi-layered approach, it's no wonder that we feel like I just don't have the bandwidth to be who I'm supposed to be. Okay. So tonight, for the last few minutes of this chat, we're going to talk about what do I do about it? You might have some of these symptoms of overwhelm, feeling detached. I'm no longer satisfied with my life. All the things I prayed for, now I have them. It's still not good enough. I'm exhausted. I just fall over at the end of the night. So what we want to do instead is overcome this trapped feeling. For some of my clients, they have ideas, but they can't seem to get a handle on it. Almost like it's like Tinkerbell, the little glowing lights. And Tinkerbell, she kind of zigzags from all over the place. That's how some of our minds are. That's how some of our ideas are. We can't seem to grab them and get a handle on it to finish, to work on it, to get to the other side and actually feel motivated about it because we're overwhelmed, because we're burned out. Okay. So sense of failure and self-doubt are some signs. Feeling helpless or trapped, losing your motivation, having a negative outlook, your pessimism is leaking over to other people. And I even say that there are certain symptoms of overwhelm that manifest in our bodies, where your neck gets tight, maybe you get back pain at a certain place. You're no longer taking deep, intentional breaths. You're just functioning, but you're not fully absorbing. You're not fully absorbing being present because you're overwhelmed by your present. Okay. So we're going to go through for a second, part of our framework that we use for our community, our conference, our clientele that we work with and support. When I teach productivity to organizations, to universities, all over the place, I teach this framework, but I change it depending on who I'm talking to. So, for example, if I'm talking to a bunch of high school students, it's going to be taught one way. If I'm talking to some adults, it's going to be taught a different way. When I taught the Women of Color Coaches Network, where most of them were mothers, I talked to them a different kind of way. So how we teach productivity varies on who we're talking to. Yeah, because productivity is going to look different for everybody. So when we start to think about overcoming your overwhelm, battling the burnout, maintaining your sense of self-awareness and amplifying it, okay? We have 4 pillars of productivity. How many? 4. Okay. The first one is to create your vision. Now, whenever we start thinking about working on our vision, a lot of times even how we're going to build the vision can be overwhelming. Yeah. The how is usually what dismantles us, and we slip into default mode where we just continue to rinse and repeat what we have always done. I asked a sister the other day, she decided, listen, it's not the time for me to do coaching. I said, listen, sis, that's no problem for me. I said, coaching is not for me, it's for you. Like, so if you feel like you can meet your goals without added support, feel free, right? And so then we were talking, and I said, well, how are you going to do it? Since you're going to go ahead, kill the game, go right ahead. I said, so what's your how that when we spoke the last time, you didn't have a how? What's going to change and how you're going to implement these things if you choose not to go forward? What changed, right? Like before we weren't sure, now we're sure, okay? So I had to challenge her on the vision, not what she wants, but how is she going to go and get it? How's she going to do it? If you are full steam ahead, you know you want something different than what you have right now. How are you going to do it? And a lot of us, we struggle with getting over our overwhelm and being productive because we kind of have an idea of what we want, but we don't know how we're going to go get it. We don't know how we're going to go get it. It is the intertwining of your vision board with a strategic plan. It is the delicate integration of having a big idea, and now you got to know how to walk that thing out. You have to know how to implement. You have to know how to take action, all right? So when we think about being productive and getting over our overwhelm, I got to ask myself, what is it that I actually want? I mean, like really want. Giving myself the freedom to dream without censorship, to dream without telling myself it's not possible. Of course it's possible. But how are we going to do it is the question. So first thing you got to do is create a family vision, create what you want for your children. We have to know what we're working towards. All of us will be overwhelmed without a plan. If we are winging it, if we're in survival mode, we're going to feel that overwhelm. So you got to know what you're working towards. Number 2, you communicate your needs to your loved ones. A lot of us are overwhelmed and burned out because we're doing all the things. Hey, we're doing all the things, or we feel like we're supposed to do all the things. I'll give you an example. Excuse me, my sinuses, y'all. I'll give you an example. One of my ladies, she was like, my husband doesn't do things around the house like I want him to do them. For example, putting cups away in the cupboard a certain kind of way. All right. I said, well, listen, you can either be upset about him doing it that way. You can ask why he does it that way, but all I hear is that you don't have to do it. A lot of times we have problems, challenges, we're upset, we're frustrated with the people we live with, and we miss out on the lesson that comes with learning and growing together. So you're overwhelmed, but it's because you don't know how to talk to your family. You're frustrated because you don't know how to set up boundaries. You're irritated because you really, really want this, but you don't know how to tell other people that you really want it. Every year, we go home from the conference, and there are ladies who are like, how do I explain to my husband what I've experienced? How do I explain to him that I feel like I'm a different person now? It's that communication. It's being able to dictate to others, I'm changing. Or this is a place in my life right now where I'm struggling. I need you to see me. I need you to understand I need a break before I go off, before I pop off, before I cuss out the kids, all of this. Like, I need a break before then. Here's how I know. Here's how it makes sense to me. But a lot of times we wait until we are right there, right on the edge. We wait until we're upset that we've cleaned all the things and organized everything and there's no system in place to maintain. You want to begin to take spin classes at the Y or go to the gym on a regular or take a dance class or do this or do that. And you don't know how to communicate to the people you love that this is a need you have. Are we okay with setting this in place that this is a need that I have now? And communication is the start of vision that you have for yourself and for your family. And then being able to communicate the needs surrounding that vision. Every year, sometimes every day, I have to communicate to my husband the vision I have for even my day. This is what I really want to get accomplished before the day is over. This is what I really need to have done. This is who I really want to be today. Can you line me up? This is how I want to transform. This is something I got to check off today. Okay? So number one, we create a vision that works not just for your family, but for you too. Then we figure out, how do we communicate our needs to the people we love? If you need more quiet time, communication. If you need more help and support, communication. If you want to switch careers or start a business or go back to school, all this stuff, all this extra stuff, communication. Because what happens in our current society is we begin to look at the people God has given us responsibility over like they're a burden. Like they're a burden. Instead of, y'all are a blessing to me, and now I need to grow and figure out, how do I become who I believe I'm supposed to be with us together? Okay? So when you're experiencing overwhelm, you have to master the art of communication. You have to say, hey, listen, I feel like I can't breathe right now. I'd be like, babe, right here, this is my stress spot. Right here in these shoulders. I'm like, baby, I need you to, like, my neck is locking up. My mind says I'm fine. My shoulder said I'm not. I have to be able to communicate those needs, okay? So one, creating the vision. Two, communicating your needs. Number three is, if you're overwhelmed, you have to learn to delegate. Now, I have a whole separate talk on this. Maybe we'll do it Saturday or something if I don't have anything on the schedule. But you must learn how to delegate. You must learn how to look at your list of tasks and decide what you're going to do and what you are not going to do. Now, you can delegate some things, but you can't delegate everything. You cannot delegate loving on your husband. Here's a list of things you cannot delegate. You cannot delegate loving on your husband and cheering for him and being his advocate and hyping him up. You cannot delegate this. You cannot delegate being a great mom, right? The definition of great is you do a little more than feed them. They got somewhere warm to sleep at night. They got clothes. If you've done this mark here, you've already gone above what the government says you have to do. You're a great mom. The fact that you're listening to this live tonight, if you are a mom, makes you great, because you want to learn how to be better. You're already a great mom. You can't delegate having vision, knowing what's coming next for you, for your family, for your loved ones. You can't delegate that. No one else can give you your vision but God. Can't delegate that. Everything else, all this other stuff that you're spending all your time doing, someone else can do. So I let my older children tackle the kitchen most days. If you take 7 days a week, I might wash dishes. Why? Because in theory, I do not get paid to wash dishes. My job is consulting organizations and coaching. Okay, that's my job. So someone else can do some of these other things. I'll do some laundry. I haven't outsourced that yet. But, hey kids, can y'all move the stuff from the washer to the dryer? Can y'all get that stuff out the dryer and put it on the thing? Can y'all separate it and put my clothes on my bed? I probably did put it in the washer though. That's it. So you just got to open your eyes about how you can get rid of stuff that's on your list. One of my clients, she's very much that way. And I was like, let's make a list of A, column of things you have to do, and B, what you don't have to do that someone else can do. And let's just go through all the stuff that you're spending your time on and figure out what column it goes into. Because somebody else can do it. And a lot of times we diminish the role of other people that we love and care about. We diminish their impact in our life, in our home. We diminish their impact. Okay, so what we want to do instead is make sure that we're not tying ourselves to our work, especially in the work that doesn't pay us. Do more of what pays you. Yeah. Okay. All right. So number one, we create the vision. We know exactly what we're working towards. Number two, we communicate our needs to our loved ones. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling burned out, stressed out. You're not sure what to do. How can I dictate this to the people that I love that are in my circle? How do I explain this to my husband in a way he can receive and respond to? Is he tired too? We're both tired. Maybe we need to stop competing about who is the most tired. So my sis can do snacks. Feel free to tell me your real name in the comments, please. Says, I have had to do the hard work of resigning from several positions recently. It's tough, but it's needed. Maybe I'm doing things that I don't have to do. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I'm not creating enough margin in my life. Yesterday we defined, hey Tiffany, margin as the white space that goes around the varying appointments. Okay, having time where nothing is happening. So you can do more of what feels good. If you're always booked, always busy, always moving from place to place, one appointment to the next, zoom, zoom, zoom. They said stress is a factor. This is the book we're reading. I'm teaching a little bit out of tonight. Stress is a factor in 5 out of the 6 leading causes of reasons people leave this earth. Okay. Heart disease, cancer, stroke, lower respiratory disease. But the one I want to put emphasis on tonight is accidents. Zooming from place to place. In a rush all the time. All the time. I told somebody this week, I said, I'm just anti-rushing in this phase of my life. I'm anti-trying to squeeze stuff into a small space. People, reach out. Let's do a discovery call. Today's Tuesday. Are you available Thursday? For old Christina would be like, listen, let's try and get it in. No, new Christina is against feeling overwhelmed, against feeling like she's rushing all the time. No. I'm just not for it. Okay. So if you've been experiencing these symptoms of overwhelm, burnout, emotional exhaustion, do you have a clearly indicated vision? Do you know exactly what you get paid to do at work or in your business? Or are you doing extra things? So Tiffany on Instagram says, I realized I had no boundaries, was getting run over and unappreciated and unpaid. So in a rush. Yes, anti-rushing. Bars. We just got to be anti-rushing. Like, how can you, for the rest of the week, and y'all might have to tell me in the Facebook group, okay? Tell me in the Facebook group, how are you going to be anti-rushing this week? How are you going to be against zoom, zoom, zoom from one place to another, doing things that really aren't adding to your family vision? This is not even equating to who I feel like I'm called to be. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it. Feeling like I have to do it. When in reality, we just need some real gentle ways to let people down. Okay? I'm so sorry. I'm just not able right now. At this time, I have to politely decline because some of my other projects are keeping me preoccupied. I turned some people down this year. Clients, speaking opportunities. I'm like, okay, I love you, but this is our new boundary that we have in place. So if you're not okay with that boundary, then you'll either have to wait, amend yourself to work on the boundary, whatever it is you need to do, go ahead and handle that. But this is how we're running our mission this year. Okay. So my sis on Facebook said, I can only do what I can do. That's where I am. I needed to hear this talk today. Listen, y'all are not the only people. Like, I was talking to one of my clients earlier today, and I was like, so many of us are in the same boat. In the same boat. In the same boat. I'm maxed out. I'm tired. I'm irritated. I'm feeling like I'm doubting that I'm in the right place for this right season. I feel trapped and defeated. I feel alone. Everybody on Instagram is killing it. I got to be the only person that isn't doing well. I don't feel motivated. I can't make myself do what I'm supposed to do. And a lot of times it's because we're burned out. A lot of times, I'm telling you, I'm talking to my coaching clients, and I work with some phenomenal women. I don't have any clients who are not a big deal. I don't even want you to come find me if you don't believe you're a big deal. I don't have any clients who are not a big deal. I just don't. Like, you got to know you're supposed to change the world to come over this way. And often people finally find me. A lot of ladies have actually found me searching on Instagram, like searching for somebody to help them with their productivity. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, listen, I'm not here to give you more stuff to do. I'm here to help you streamline so you have less stuff to do. And I just gave y'all the play-by-play of how we do it. Creating a vision. What do you want? Communicating to your loved ones. If you got to work through some stuff. Learning to delegate because your pride is wrapped up in your to-do list. And then we elevate your business, your mission, your career. In some places, some of the ladies that are coming to me, they're in the middle of a career transition. They're like, wow, I'm ready to leave this and go to something else. I'm like, yeah, you are. I didn't feel like I was ready. But yeah, you are. One of my clients told me today, she was like, working with you has helped me to assassinate my imposter syndrome. Where I felt like I wasn't able. So, but meeting every week and you challenging me and just enough, challenging how I think about myself, challenging how I talk about myself, challenging all of this. She was like, it's falling off of me. I was like, girl, it's what we do. Make you ready for the next level. Okay. And so I just want you all to feel today that you're made for something major. Made for something major. I don't know. We haven't talked about it yet. I would love for us to talk about it. But let it sit here that you're made for something incredible. You, sister, are made for something amazing. You are supposed to create impact and influence and challenge the world to become better because you were here. You have to get organized. You have to change the way you used to do things. Because if you don't, you can't hit the goal. If you're burned out, overwhelmed, emotionally exhausted, hiding in your closet, you cannot be all you can be. You just can't. You will live in survival mode because in your mind, survival mode is the ceiling. Survival mode is the ceiling. Like, this is just how life is. And I was talking to my husband. This sounds so bad, so y'all bear with me. But I was talking to my husband about a young lady who came to me for coaching, right? And she was like, I don't really know. Da, da, da. I said, that's fine. You don't have to know about if you want to work with me or not. I was like, I'm not about to get on the phone and try to like berate you or over convince you to do anything. I was like, I'm over here having dates with my husband, taking naps when I need it. My children are phenomenal. They cook, clean, support the family. They are brilliantly intelligent, not because I teach them, but just who they are. Okay? All of the things. I was like, if you're over here living in chaos, but you're not ready, that's fine. But that's not the best that life can be. So we don't want to lie to ourselves, which is what we do sometimes. I don't want us to lie to ourselves and try to convince ourselves that this is the best that there is. Because it's not. You can have more of everything you want. More rest, more energy, more time, make more money. You can do all of that. But it's like when we're rested, we get to show up and give from the overflow. Like, we've heard that as a cliche, but it's also true. Like, it's 8:46 at night. And after this, my husband's out of town. After this, I'm going in to watch a movie with my kids and enjoy savoring this presence. So for a lot of us, we're missing that. And we feel like this is the best that it can be. And so we have these definitions of signs of burnout and emotional exhaustion. Feel like you're failing, feeling helpless, feeling detached and alone, all of this stuff, right? But then I want to go over what it looks like for us as a community, where a lot of times you're busy, but you're not always producing results. You're always moving from place to place, doing all the things, but you're not producing like you're supposed to. You procrastinate because a lot of times you don't have trust in your decisions. You don't trust your decisions. So you buffer. You are loading in your mind all the time. Your ideas zigzag. Your businesses zigzag. The jobs you take go all over the place. Type of clients you work with, all over the place. Mostly because we're just not sure. We're not sure. Hello, good evening. So we're busy and we're moving around, but the results that we're desiring, we're not experiencing. Okay? So you procrastinate. I call it watering plants, where I would much rather wipe off leaves of my plants. I have really gigantic plants in my living room. So I'll wipe off plants and change the soil or water them and I would much rather water my plants than do the hard things. Okay. I would much rather, sometimes I'd rather clean my house than send a pitch or something that's scary because it takes a lot of mental energy from me. So I'd rather do the easy thing than the harder thing. Okay. So you procrastinate because a lot of times you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing. You don't have confidence in your decisions. You want it to be perfect. So we procrastinate. A lot of times you want to make more money, right? Whether that's you're starting a business or you already have one, or you're like my girl Stacey, you wrote a book, you do all the things, right? Do all the stuff. You want more money, more opportunities. Nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times you find yourself waiting on the opportunity to come to you instead of having the confidence to submit for them, to send that email, that very scary email. My first Essence email, I was shaking. You hear me shaking? I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm crazy. Like, I was just so nervous. Freaked out. Okay. Now it's like, oh, let me just email her. Boop. Because they know who I am now. But that first one, freaked out. Okay. So a lot of times though, we're waiting. If I was waiting for them, and I tell my clients this all the time, I'm like, if I was waiting on Essence to find me, I'd probably still be waiting. I had to pitch. I had to submit for it. I had to send my name in, my information. I read it, reread that pitch, read it again, close it out, open it back up to look again with fresh eyes. But I had to do it. If I did not, still be waiting. We ain't got time for that. Some of us are, we made our vision board. Y'all love those cut and paste vision boards. Anyway, another conversation. But y'all have this vision board with all this great stuff on it. You want it to come to life, but you're so busy micromanaging all these other things and all these other people so that you don't have the space, okay? And so Tiffany on Instagram says, yes to being a world changer. I have come from among them. I'm not getting burnt out like my mom did. I want to live the gift of showing her what rest looks like. I'm learning. I too am learning and, am teaching the people that are attached to me. It's okay for us to rest. It's okay for us to not do. It's okay for us to take a couple days off. It's okay for you to go for a long walk and be by yourself. Even if your kids are like, I want to go. I love you so much. I just need time. This is part of my time. Okay. Like letting that pour over so that they too come to understand mom prioritizes her self-care. And when they grow up, they will have seen a mom who did that and a father who might have had to be forced to do it. I'm like, go to a movie by yourself. Go be alone. He's like, I don't know how to be alone. Go be alone. Just go breathe, pray, just be still. It's a beautiful thing, right? But it can be hard for us to make, the Bible says, he maketh me lie down in green pastures. God be having to make us lie down. Okay. And so for many of us, we have these symptoms of burnout, emotional exhaustion. You want to invest more in your relationship, but you tired. Hey, Tasha. Yes, self-care is not selfish. And then on the spin side, I want to say self-care is selfish. Self is in the title. And can that be okay? Are you allowed to have 1 hour of selfish time a day? All right. Like, let's think about that. There's 24 hours in a day. Let's say there's 17 that you're actually awake. You work, you do all these other things for other people. Are you allowed to have that 1 hour, that 45 minutes a day when you just think about you? I tell a lot of my clients, especially those when it's time for them to re-up again and join again for coach, they want to continue coaching. I'm like, the first thing that we will cancel is stuff for ourselves. Isn't it? The first thing we will say, this is something that I don't have to have. We'll go to our stuff first. We'll keep everybody else's stuff. Your child's in 17 sports. You paying for ballet, soccer. You leave there and go to wrestling. All this extra stuff. You keep everything for everybody else. But when it's the thing that's for you, that's what's up for negotiation. And then we wonder why we go into a spin cycle. We wonder why it's hard to maintain, because the first thing that I think about is, what can I personally give away? What can I personally do less of, instead of requiring everybody as a unit to do less of something? If we all do less of something, at least the parents will be well taken care of. Yeah? And so as we wrap up tonight, we've kind of read through the symptoms of overwhelm. I've read through what my ladies have shared, that it's okay to be where you are, but the call to action is specifically for those who don't want to stay there, where you want to move with intention. You don't want to be busy and not be producing results. You want to have access to more opportunities, more open doors, and you want to learn how to create them instead of waiting for something to happen. You're tired of procrastinating. Like, you know what? I'll wait. A lot of times it's not because my life is out of control, but that's what I'll tell myself. I'll tell myself that it's the kids and it's my husband and it's my job and all these other things, instead of saying I lack good boundaries. I struggle with saying what I need. I'm working on my mindset and my emotions and my mental awareness and self-awareness. Instead of those things, we'll go to all of this is out of my control. Okay. And you need to communicate better. You need to move past this. You know that it's holding you back from being who you really want to be. And you know that you have a right to dreaming without censorship. I believe that if you're here in this space, it's because you're supposed to do something really magnificent. I believe in my heart that if you feel like I'm speaking to your soul, like my sis on Facebook said, and you feel like you want to have and teach the gift of resting more and having access to more, but not burning out while I do it, then I'm your coach. Okay? And it will be my absolute honor to hear about you, to hear about your family, your dreams, to give you the green light to have a mapped out process that doesn't overwhelm you. Had a discovery call earlier today with a superstar mama. Like, I just wish I could tell all the ways. Superstar mom. And I told her, I was like, you just have to be able to give yourself permission to do something different than you used to do. And that you get to control the narrative behind that. Like, you write the rules. What? You get to determine what success looks like. You get to define what completion is, what your terms are. You get to determine what success is for you. And then we work through that process together. Okay. So if you have been, you're like, you know what? I just know there's better. I know I'm not operating at my ultimate and I'm tired of it. This message is not for the ladies who are like, I'm making it just fine. I'm doing good. This message is for the ladies who see themselves on the next level, but you got to build the stairs. You see yourself on the next level, but you have to build the stairs. And you recognize that there are time management issues that are keeping you from it, procrastination challenges that are keeping you from it, confidence challenges, imposter syndrome, mental hurdles that are keeping you from becoming her. Maybe you want to shoot your shot for big opportunities, but you don't know what that needs to look like. I'll help you with that too. I had my client last week. She was like, I really want to start working with this company and doing influencer. She said, I did some of this, but it didn't work. I said, you want to know how to know people for real? I said, oh yeah, here we go. And I went into my computer. I shared my screen and I showed her what I did to land multiple opportunities with Essence Magazine. What I do to partner with different organizations, companies for speaking, universities, ministries, all of this. The gift of speaking for Pastor Joel Osteen's church. that honor, building relationships so that you become the go-to person, the thought leader and expert in your space. Like, this is what we do here. We build big ideas, but with balance. We help you create your epic vision so that your results are guaranteed. It's guaranteed you're going to do it. But you know that you need some support moving from where you are to where you want to go. Okay. So I am opening my calendar for Thursday. I have a couple coaching calls, but if you want to talk about coaching after this live is over, I just want you to DM me. I want you to say, Christina, I'm in. I want 3 months of coaching, or you can do 6 months and we'll work for the rest of the year. What? Oh, that's so good. Can you imagine going into January with no regrets? If you come and partner with me for 6 months, you get to go into January with no regrets. You're no longer hung up on, I was supposed to have done this. I should have done this over here. I didn't know how to do it, so I'm just going to put it on the January 2024 vision board. Y'all know how we do. I didn't do it last year, but this year is the year. Instead of saying, you know what? I know for a fact that it can happen. And I know I need to grow internally to become that person. Okay. So if you want to book a call for Thursday, slide in my DMs after this is over. Let's connect. Let's talk about coaching. I had some ladies who work with me from December last year to like May. So we have a handful of spots that are opening up. If you want to come on and work, let's do the work together. Okay. I love y'all. I'm about to go watch Quantum Mania with my amazing children. I promised them since Dad was out of town that he got to stay up. They get to stay up late tonight. You hear? Why did I do that? I don't know. So if no one else has told you yet today, sis, you are remarkable. You are beautiful and fabulous. You do the absolute most and you give so much to so many people. The work that you do is so needed. You matter. The work matters. And God has put you here for such a time as this to change the world. To change the world. So you have to do this. You have to show up. You have to give and deliver because people are waiting for you. Can we imagine even what I talked about tonight? What if I never did this? What if I decided to sit on it and God did a work in me, but I never shared it? God did a work in me, but I played it small. My showing up is connected to all of y'all's. Even if you just take this little bit and say, I'm going to communicate better with my spouse. Even if you just take that little bit. Even if you decide to binge watch the last decade of Facebook Lives, that'll take you a while. But what if I decided to just sit on this? Where would we be now? Okay, so it's time to do the work. Let's do the work together. And don't forget, October 27th through the 29th is the Mamathon Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, in Atlanta, Georgia. We want to see you there. If you need a payment arrangement for your ticket, I don't care. You can pay on it till September. Like, we don't care. We just want you to be there. We want you to come and attend. So shoot me a DM. And if you decide to coach with me this year, your conference spot is included. Because I just show all my clients such favoritism. All right. I love y'all so much. Shoot me a DM for coaching or shoot me a DM for Stacey said perfect, speaking my language, payment plan. Yes, just send me. I already have your email, I'm sure, but just DM me so I have it for sure, and we'll send you one out tomorrow. Okay. Coaching or conference, let's do the work. All right. Good night. I love y'all. Go be phenomenal. And I will wait a minute. Oh, my kids. Mommy, are you done? Y'all so ghetto. I'm just kidding. All right. I love y'all. Have a great night. I didn't even turn it off yet.
Wait, oh!
Nothing happened.
Bye.
Bye, guys.